Hi Leo, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your January 16th to the 31st, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, just to let you know, there is somebody who is impersonating me in the description box below. I will never be soliciting you for readings or for anything, so just ignore them and delete them and report them and delete them. Okay, so now let's begin this reading. Let's begin the meditation, clearing away negative energy, raising our own positive energy, and releasing anything that has been holding us back. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from your body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. So let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Leo, January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. 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 Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. And spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Ooh. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. Oh, no, this one. There we go. Now let's see your chakra energy for this time. Leo, January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. So we have here divine wisdom, the soul star chakra located 6 inches above the crown. And we're going to see how this all equates to the tarot in just a moment. And then we have life purpose, the throat chakra. Always lovely to see. And then clarity, the third eye chakra. Now the left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, your emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So we have the 8 of Wands, things move fast. The 9 of Swords, okay, doubts, fears, nightmares, kind of like the brain gets in the way. Judgment, a resurrection, a rising above. The 9 of Cups, then blessings come. So you have the repeat of the number 9. You're very close to a completion of a cycle, but you're going to go through 2 stages. One where you think, oh my gosh, I absolutely can't do this. And the other one where you start to have a bit of faith in yourself, but people will have more faith in you than you do in yourself, Leo. So just know this, especially in your inner self, in your way of thinking about things. You're going to have that tug of war during this time. Then we have the 6 of Cups. The past comes into play. Justice, learning how to be more discerning with things. This is also Libra energy. Time frame September 23rd to October 22nd. We have the 4 of Wands, beautiful, celebration, happiness, joy. The 7 of Swords. Yeah. Patience. You then have the 7 of Wands. So the repeat of the number 7 here shows that truth is very, very important. You're going to be calling yourself out when you feel you're not being honest with you. You're also going to be calling other people out. Maybe not out loud because that might not go over really well, but definitely in your head, you're like, no, that's not my truth. That's not the way I'm moving forward. There's also a really beautiful connection here with spiritual understanding and spiritual wisdom. We have the 3 of Wands, new horizons, the 10 of Coins, so prosperity that lasts for generations, and the 2 of Wands, you're broadening your horizon in one way or another in the public arena. And this is through learning how to pick your battles wisely. You're kind of stepping back and seeing that sometimes the greatest strength is not in picking a fight, or maybe fight is the wrong word, but not in getting upset with things, but sitting there and saying, does this really matter to me in the long run? And that's going to be a powerful stance that you take during this time, because it's really going to focus your energy to where it needs to be. And you're going to see that it starts to open up doors, and it starts to have you looking at things very differently and very powerfully. So let's see what people will be aiding you during this time. Who will be aiding Leo? January 16th to 31st, 2021, Leo. Who will be aiding Leo? January 16th to 31st, 2021, Leo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So we have here the Death card, Scorpio energy. This is somebody who's very, very into transformation, very much going deeper, kind of pulls back from things. People can find this person actually very aloof, but you're going to find this person to be very wise, very guiding, very much opening up doors and understandings. And you're going to find that this person is kind of changing the way they see things. They could have said, this at one point in their life, but now they're really transforming themselves forward. They're being much more self-aware, and they're walking between the world of spirituality and the world of, the public arena and what everybody really values. And so here you're finding that path forward. You're embarking on that truth, and you're really opening that up to you. So this person could be a person that you know in real life where you're just kind of like admiring how they're moving forward. But this could also be a person where you're kind of reading their work, or you're, watching them on YouTube or in the movies or wherever, whatever platform, whatever media they are on. And they've transformed, and they've, entered into this kind of phase in their life where they walk 2 worlds, and they do it kind of seamlessly. And you're going to be really intrigued with that. You're going to be really intrigued with the power and the spiritual presence that they have. And then you have here the Hierophant. So Hierophant is Taurus energy. This is the High Priest, of course. This is Taurus energy, April 20th to May 20th. This is a person that takes no bull whatsoever. And this is a person who really goes after what it is that they want. They lay down the truth, and they really stick to it. This is how they see the truth. Now, whether it be your truth or whether it not be, that's not what you're concerned about at this time. You're really not. You're going to find that you deeply admire the way this person stays to their convictions, the way this person is moving forward. And you're very much moving forward in the sense of, this is my truth as I see it. This is my way forward. This is my grace. This is my understanding. And this person is helping you see the interconnectedness of things that you had overlooked before, the way forward that once seemed so out of place. And now you're like, oh, I get it. I get it. I'm seeing it. And then it moves you to the Lord, Aries energy. This is an astoundingly strong-willed person. You're very much intrigued by the strong-willed during this time, and actually throughout your life, Leo. You're very intrigued by people who stand their ground, know their truth, even if you disagree with them. If they take a stand, you're going to find that you can grudgingly admire them. This Aries energy is a time frame, okay, March 21st to April 19th. This is a person, and I like how the Aries time frame goes right into the Taurus time frame. This is a person who knows their truth, okay, who says, I'm kind of running my ship. You know, I'm moving things forward. And it might not always be the best way, but it's the way I know how. And so even if this person is a little child, like a little Aries, they have such a strong will to them. And they have to learn how to develop that into the world, you know, how to make that not being a bully, but being an aid. And so here to the world and to understanding, they could be these brilliant activists. And they can be people that, if you kind of look back at them, you could sit there and be like, wow, you could have gone two ways, right? You could have been that person who was totally overbearing, or you were that person who totally had the voice for those who couldn't. And that's going to be what you really admire about them, is that they chose a path that at times doesn't seem to have the same self-aggrandizement that it would otherwise. And I don't know if you're seeing this in a person like developing, okay? But there is something here where you can kind of see the two roads, and you've been hoping they take the better road. You know, they take the road that would cause them less pain, that would, you know, open up their hearts and their souls, and they are. So that's really cool. That could be a very specific message for a very specific person. But there's a power here, and there's a learning how to control that force, how to control that intensity. And they've really stepped into a place where you're admiring them and you're looking at it. And I'm seeing, like, even if this is a child, like, you're admiring the way that they've learned how to harness this. And you're kind of taking that and internalizing it. And it's like, well, if they can be that fearless, if they can be that strong, so can I. And you're going to use that as this springboard. Because here with the Eight of Wands, things are really changing. You're having things move forward in a way that you hadn't expected, in a way that divinity's saying, you know, it's time to get out of your comfort zone. It's time to move forward. It's time to go after what it is that you want. And I realized I just skipped over your chakras. And this is because with the soul star chakra located above your crown, this wisdom is coming into you and coming around you and guiding you forward. And you're looking at things differently. And it's like, oh, I see. And that's one of the reasons why the truth is so important to you. And here with the Eight of Wands, it's like all of a sudden you can be caught up in the way things move forward, in the way you want things to change, in the knowledge that you're having. And it's like a door opens. It's like realization comes, and you're like, oh, that's the reason, isn't it? And so the wisdom keeps coming around you, keeps guiding you, keeps moving with you. And it's going to be opening up one door after another. And it's like, oh, that's the reason. And so here you're going to be rather surprised how things kind of just fall into alignment, or things that you have been thinking about for years. You start to see how, you know, that thought that you had, that you thought, like, you know, came from your imagination, has a place in the real world. And you're seeing things kind of puzzle piecing themselves together because you're stepping into the right time. And that's one of the great things for you. You're stepping into the right time. That's what Spirit's saying. And there's just a sense of peace when Spirit had me say that. You step into the right time. And you're moving towards your life purpose. You're moving towards why you were put on this earth. And you start to state it. You start to see it. You're not going to be as caught up with everybody else's trauma and drama, which, I mean, in the state of our world, that is really quite hard. But you are moving towards your truth. You are sitting there and you are saying, this is me. This is where I need to be. This is the power I need to embrace within my life. This is the way I need to move forward. And you're going to find that every word you speak, Every, kind of thought that you have, not kind of, every thought that you have starts shaping your world and starts shaping the way you view and the way you embrace your purpose, your power forward, and your truth. So your life purpose right now is you ascending, is you moving forward in a direction that you might have thought was completely out of your reach, that you might have thought was something that was silly, it was just a dream, but now you're embracing it, and it's like, no, it's my truth, it's my power, and it's my grace. And it moves you then to clarity, clarity of mind, clarity of being, clarity of self. Your third eye is opening, and it's like, oh, this is my truth, isn't it? This is the way I'm supposed to be moving forward. This is who I'm supposed to be. And a clarity comes over you, and it opens up your world. It opens up yourself. It opens up your power in a way that makes you feel more at home within yourself, makes you feel more kind of confident, because you're having this third eye open. You're having this way of looking at things, and you're having yourself look deeper than you ever have before. And it really does open up that truth and that power. And it brings you to moving forward in a way that takes you by surprise. It does. It's almost like you get, is this a dance? Yeah. You get caught up in the dance, you get caught up in the celebration, and it's like, I have to move forward. I have to go after what it is that I want and what I need. And that's when the discernment, the justice comes in, because you're going to try and sit there. And the thing is, it's like, okay, Leo, the thing is, the Spirit is saying, don't bend the rules. Don't sit there and say, like, wherever at work or something like that, oh, these are the rules, but I'm going to keep on bending them and bending them, because you can wind up getting yourself in sticky water, or in a sticky situation. Because of the repeat of the number 7, it has a way of getting things called out, okay? So here, that's just a warning. It's at home, it's at work, it's wherever it is that you are. You're going to want to play things very, very true, okay? Very tried and true during this time. Because as the world opens to you, you're going to see that you're moving in a way that needs this wisdom, that needs this deeper knowledge, and also needs you to be following your life purpose. So when you kind of veer off course a little bit, divinity is going to be correcting you in a very powerful way. So here things start moving forward, and you start being called into your power, but you also start getting swept up in things. So just be mindful of the repeat of the number 7 here, of the truth always coming out, of people looking and seeing you, and you could be standing next to somebody who did the exact same thing, and people are going to sit there and say, well, I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about you. It's going to drive you up the wall, but just be mindful of that. Okay. Then we have here the 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords is nightmares. So we have a predator coming in. We have this baby bird lying in the street, and the family in the nest all worried. So here we have our worst nightmares coming true. And it doesn't mean that this time is our worst nightmares coming true. It means that we're looking at things, and we're too much in our own mind. It's kind of like, well, yes, but this could happen. Yes, but that could happen. Everything could fall apart. Everything could be terrible. And yes, everything could be, but it's not. So sometimes we get into our own minds way too easily. I know I am most definitely guilty of this. And all of a sudden, things can seem a lot scarier than they ever were. And also, you start to look at it, and then once you face it, and you kind of set down these boundaries and these laws and this way of seeing things, and you look at your truth and where you're headed and what you want, and you start to do it, you can get mad at yourself. It's like, wow, I let this fear keep me back for so long. And what divinity is saying now is that you are embracing power. You are embracing truth. And as you're going to see yourself move forward, there's going to be this time where you're held back, where kind of like the forces of the world that wants to keep you in chaos hold you back and say, well, you can't. You can't because XYZ, because of the fears, because of the doubts. And there is a sense here of, and it sounds rather horrible to say, but it's kind of like this is Jonas and the whale type of moment. This is being stuck in that whale. This is, facing that darkness, facing the doubts and saying, well, what if? What if I just take that leap? What if I look at the darkness and say, I see you, I respect you, and I understand you. I understand that to counter, the day, you need the night. I understand to counter being awake, you need to sleep. But I also know that to counter living in everybody else's truth, I need to live in mine. And it's time for me to take back my life. It's time for me to move forward in my greater understanding. The what ifs can kill us. they really can. They can overpower us. They can drown us. They can take away our beauty and our grace. The what ifs can become completely too much. And the Nine of Swords are the what ifs amplified to 1,000. And here they rob us of our truth. They rob us of our beauty. And it's like, no more. I'm done with this. No more am I being robbed of the grace that I need to move forward. You face those fears and you realize, oh, wow, maybe that hawk right there wasn't going to eat that bird anyway. Going to pick him up and put him back in the nest. Maybe a million things could happen as you face the fears, as you face the doubts, and as you look at things more honestly and more truthfully for yourself, and you find that you rise because you name it. And I know it sounds so odd to say, name the fear, but there's a part of us that has learned to deal with things. You know, it's our coping mechanism as we grow. And so with the Nine of Swords, we look at our fear. And if we can name it, if we can give it at first, you know, an abstract way of being, it's red and black, and you know, it sucks in light kind of feeling about it because it's angry, it's, you know, it's upset, and it's reacting. But then if we can start to give it a face, if we can start to give it a voice, if we can start to talk to our fear and say, why are you holding me back? Like, why is it that this is so hard to do? And then that part of you starts to come forward. And it starts to talk to you because you give it a voice, you give it a face, you make it real, and you give it respect. And that's what we need within ourselves, to respect all aspects of our psyche, respect all aspects of who we are. And so here, as you give it a voice and you give it a name, you find that it tells you. It's like, well, I'm protecting you. Remember when everybody laughed at you in the 3rd grade? Like, remember when everything fell apart when you were 8? You know, that type of thing? I'm protecting you from that. So we have our fight or flight emotional response. And either we, you know, go after something by being mad at it, or we run away from it because that's the way we're dealing with it. And so here we're calming ourselves. We're seeing that, and we're seeing the two responses that we innately have, you know, instinctually we have through our ancestral development, okay, or our species development. And you're looking at it and saying, oh, but there's a 3rd response, and that's reason. That's reason, that's understanding, that's respect. And that's where you start to rise. Because you look at the aspects of you, you look at the doubts and the fears and the negativity and the hurt and the pain, and you rise like a phoenix from the ashes. You rise into a greater truth. You rise into a more profound way of being. You rise out of the darkness, out of the fear, and into the place that you want to stand. And your angels are right there with you. You are divinely blessed during this time, though you will doubt it at moments. But there's a sense of just rising, of, you know, sitting there and looking at things, and it's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new way forward. And it leads you to a blessing. It leads you to a blessing that it is much easier for other people to see than it is for you. You're going to sit there and be like, well, I'm just living my life, doing my thing. But there is going to be a spark around you. There is going to be a kind of wish granted around you. And there's going to be a way that people look at you, that they're like, huh, that's really different. Or, huh, I never thought of it like that. I never thought you could move forward like that. I never thought you could be like that. And you see yourself moving forward in that strength, in that beauty, in that power. And the Nine of Cups is like, yeah, it's like, this is where I was meant to stand. But you hadn't realized it. And even at times you won't realize it. It's going to be something that eludes you from time to time. But it moves you closer, there we go, closer to the place that you need to be, soul, spirit, and self, the place that you've been longing for. And your heart during this time, it's very interesting. So you're moving forward, and there is going to be that response that wants to pull back, right? Because there is this way of moving into a greater sense of you. And the Six of Cups brings us to nostalgia, brings us to doubt, brings us to the negativity that was spoken over us when we were really small. And it brings all these things forward. And it's like, how can I move into what I want? Or it was, things were better when. Things were better when I was small. Things were better when, you know, I was in love with this person, not this person. And we tend to remember things either in it was really good there or it was really bad there. And here, it's kind of looking at things and saying, the past cannot help me. It can't. It can't change my present. And the future cannot help me because I'm not there, but the present can. And why is it that these emotions, these ideas are coming back? Why is it that I feel overwhelmed or that I want to retreat? And so the heart is looking for an escape at times during this time. And you are going to find that you need to sit and look at it, and also look at where your mind is going to. Because you're going to think, oh, it's better there. But it's also because there's something that you are facing here, a truth that you are facing here, that is easier just to avoid. Because it's something you've been running from. It's something you've been not wanting to look at for a really long time. And it also brings up a lot of the negativity that was spoken over you when you were small, that made it impossible to really enjoy, really let loose, really break free. And so here, you're seeing yourself embrace your joy and your truth and look at things. And again, it's about calling things out and saying, I need to move forward. I need to see me as the person that I am, as the person that I want to be, and not with the negativity that others have deemed to speak over me. And then that's being discerning. That's being discerning with the energy that you let be a part of your heart. That's also being discerning with the way that you're moving forward and what you're looking at, and not being idealistic. Though, of course, idealistic is also good at times. Not being naive is what Spirit is saying here. You are looking at things and saying, listen, my ideals will always change, because when we get what we want, we always push it out just a little bit more, a little bit more. And so here, it's not sitting there and saying, well, I'll only be happy if. It's being just and fair to yourself. It's being discerning with the energy that is around you. It's, knowing your truth and guiding yourself forward and looking at things and kind of doing a checks and balances with your mind and with your heart and saying, does this help my reason? Does this help my emotional self? How do I move forward? And then as you do this, and as you have this balance, and as it's not just, being judged and found wanting, or being judged and found, and getting praised, it's sitting there and saying, there are myriads of shades of grays to things, and I am looking at things as openly and as justly as I can for myself. And some energy I can let in, and other energy I just need to let go. And then it brings you to a place of learning how to celebrate you, of learning how to let in the blessings, of saying, this is the love that I want to move forward in. This is the passion that gets to be a part of me. This is what I desire. This is what I need. This is who I am. And you start to see new opportunities come, because again, you are rising. You're looking at things. And I know people sit there and say, Dane, I don't want to rise from the ashes like a phoenix. Like, I'm tired of that. But every single day when we wake up, we rise from the ashes of sleep. We rise from the ashes of the past into the present. And we get a whole new set of choices to make, which it doesn't feel like that because, especially now where it feels like the days just kind of blur into each other. But what you're finding here is that there is beauty in the small choices that you're making. There is beauty in the way that you are taking hold and taking control of your life and looking at things openly and honestly and lovingly and spiritually and, and personally and fiery for you to move forward in. And it changes your career. It changes your career path. It has doors open to you that were once lost. It has you looking at things more openly, more honestly, more instinctually, more powerfully. And it has you, sitting there and saying, can't I? Instead of I can't. It's like, why? Instead of why not? And you're going to see that as this happens, you start to embrace a greater truth, a greater sense of power, a greater sense of celebration, even in just the little things, like the morning ritual of getting up. And I like to have oatmeal and tea. It becomes something sacred. And if you start putting that sacred, if you start putting that happiness into your world, then you start to sit there and say, it really is more than I expected. There's something beautiful that starts to shine around you. And it moves you then to the 7 of Swords. You see the lying, you see the sneakiness, you see the cheating. And that's a really harsh way to put it. But that's what Spirit is saying. It's like you're gathering everything up. And people might call you out and say, well, you're not being as honest as you should be, or you're not being as open as you should be. And you're sitting there and you're like, I'm gathering everything up. And I'm moving forward slowly and steadily. I'm leaving some things behind. They're not going to serve me, but I'm understanding that this is my truth. This is my way forward. This is what I need because of the knowledge that is coming around me. And as you do this, you start to see prosperity. I was like, what is this right here? But you start to see prosperity coming around you. You start to see yourself sitting there and saying, that is a lot different than I thought it was going to be. And you call out the fear and the doubt and the hurt and the pain. And it leads you to picking your battles very wisely in the public arena. It leads you to sitting there and saying, you know what, no, I'm not going to be treated that way. I'm not going to be giving my energy to these fools. I'm not picking that fight. Because have you ever noticed, and it really is quite true, we tend to have the same fights with people over and over again. They have one way of viewing things and we have another way of viewing things. And it becomes a waste of air. It really does, to just have those same fights. And so here with the Seven of Swords, it's the Seven of Wands. It's looking at things and it's saying, it's not worth my time. It's not worth my effort or my energy. You will have your beliefs. I will have my beliefs. And not until I feel like it is absolutely imperative to me will I fight. Will I sit there and give my energy to something? Defend what it is that I believe to be true, or, have an argument with a person or anything like that. Because right now I need that energy to focus on me. Because the world is opening up. Because everybody will take your energy. There are people who will disagree with you left, right, and center. There are people who just like to fight, just like to get a rise out of people. They just like to see people upset. And it gives them they get a little smirk on their face, and they've been itching for a fight like all day. And so you get to give it to them. And it's like, why? Why give them what they want, first of all? And why fall into that trap of the argument, of the, blood pressure being raised, of the day being ruined type of thing? Choose your battles very, very wisely. Stand in your truth. All right? And it doesn't have to be that you have to share that truth with anybody. It's like, you have your opinions, I have mine. And it leads you to your world really opening up. And it leads you to sitting there and saying, I can move forward, can't I? You start to see your ships come in. You start to see your ships go out because you have more energy to focus on what you want, on what you need, and at the places and on the places that you want to be in your life. And so the world starts to open and you start to change your opinions. You start to change the way that you're looking at things. You start to embrace a deeper insight, deeper understanding. And with the Three of Wands, it's like, I can do this, can't I? And it's just one little thing that starts to kind of like go your way, to go right. And then you pick up on that, you focus on that energy, and it starts to build and build and build. Now, if you focus on the energy of the people opposing and the anger, that will build and build and build. So be very mindful on what you're focusing on, because it can open up the world to you, or it can feel like it closes the door right in your face. And then here, if you open up to that greater understanding, I love it, the snail right there, looking out to, slowly and steadily, seeing, and in a different direction. Things are going to come at times a little bit more slowly than you had anticipated, but it's going to be brilliant. And it's going to lead you in a direction that you hadn't anticipated. And it leads you to a prosperity that lasts for generations. It leads you to your world opening up. It leads you to being inspired. It leads you to gaining a bigger understanding. And as the world opens to you, and as you start to see things more honestly, you start to sit there and are just inspired. It's like, well, why can't I? Why can't I move forward this way? And when this opens up, it doesn't mean that it has to be passed down from generation to generation. It's the way you interact with people. It's the energy you leave behind. It's the raising of the emotional vibration to sit there and say, this is what's important to me. This is my wealth, or what I value as much as money, that gets to propel me forward, that gets to guide me, that gets to be a part of me. And then as that opens to you, and as that prosperity becomes you, and as you're reaching a conclusion within the cycle of your wealth, okay, whether it's financial or spiritual, what you start to find is that you have a firmer foundation for which to kind of springboard off of, to grow from. And it leads you to the Two of Wands. It leads you to sitting there and holding the world in your hand and saying, I can do this, can't I? Like, it's not as terrifying as I thought it was. It's not as big and overwhelming. I can move forward. And you start to, slowly and steadily, gracefully and beautifully. You start to see things. You start to expand your ideas. You start to open up your mind and your world, and it moves you forward in a way that is enchanting. So let's go deeper. Leo, January 16th to the 31st, 2021 Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021 Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021 Leo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. And let's look at the people that you need to be mindful of during this time. Who are the people that Leo needs to be mindful of? January 16th to the 31st, 2021 Leo. Who are the people that Leo needs to be mindful of? January 16th to the 31st, 2021 Leo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, goodness. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So we have here Sagittarius energy. Time frame November 22nd to December 21st. This is temperance. This is balance. This is going to be somebody who's very out of balance, and they're not in alignment with the ether, with the energy of spirit that is around them. But they're going to be questing. They're going to be looking. They're going to be searching. But there's going to be a little bit of an anger to them, a little bit of a frustration, just to be mindful of, because it can tinge it. It can make something rather beautiful start to go sour. It's kind of like, I'm just seeing like using sour milk in a cake, and you go to eat the cake, and it's just not good. It's just like rotten in your mouth. And so it's going to be something like that seems almost too good to be true at times, or that the person really thinks they're moving one way and then it doesn't work out, and they really take it super hard. So just be mindful of that and kind of the backlash of that. Then you have here Aquarius energy, time frame January 20th to February 18th. This is a person who's just giving too much. They're giving too much and they're frayed at the edges. And they aren't going to want to put in the work, the time, the effort that is needed to build them up, to move them forward, to help their world. Okay, this is going to be somebody who sits there and is like, well, I want a quick fix. And there isn't going to be a quick fix. So here, it's just being very mindful. And again, they're very frustrated. There's just a lot of, really, really frustrated energy here. And they're pouring the waters out, but they don't have anything left to give. So it becomes very resentful, very overwhelming. And then we have here the Queen of Wands. And this is a fire sign energy, right? Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So just as with this Sagittarius energy right here, you're very drawn to the energy, because fire sign energy is drawn to fire sign energy. And you're going to find here that this person they have too much of a temper, and they let the temper get the best of them most of the time. And that's just not going to be where you're at. You're not going to want to have these fights, to have this anger around you. Seven of Swords, the Three of Pentacles, the Chariot, which is Cancer energy, time frame June 21st to July 22nd. The Eight of Wands, now it's crowning your heart. And the Seven of Swords, instead of grounding you, being your root in your heart line, it is now crowning you in your personal line. You have the Hermit, Virgo energy, time frame August 23rd to September 22nd. The Two of Swords. The Seven of Wands, okay, crowning the Seven of Wands. So yeah, it's going to be time where you really have to choose your battles wisely. The Empress and the Ace of Swords. Awesome. So yeah, there's something like you're moving forward. You're facing doubts, fears, and there's something like you're gathering up this information, and his fingers are crossed behind him. He has the fox on his back, and there's the sense of, I can't tell you the full truth, and it's not keeping things from people who really want the best for you. Okay, it's like that old saying. Okay, my great grandma used to always say, "Don't tell everybody everything." And I used to be so guilty of telling everybody everything. She said 80% of people don't care, and the other 10% will kind of wish you ill. So keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself till you're moving it forward. And that's really important here. It's like, keep it to yourself until you're moving it forward. Share your ideas with those who really love you. Like, there could be two people in the world who just always want the best for you, always are on your side. Share it with those people. Don't share it with everybody else. All right? So here, you're looking at things and you're gathering up this information, and people are going to sit there and be like, Leo, there's something a little bit off about you. Like, you're not sharing things the way that you used to. Don't you want to, like, gossip with us and talk about these things? And it's like, no, because I'm using my energy my way. And yes, at times it can make you not as popular, to be part of, also office gossip. There we go. And things like that. But it's going to make you more productive within your life. It's going to have you move forward to the prosperity, to the bounty that you are creating. And it's going to be something that you get to share. It's going to be something that you get to move forward with and share with those who are really, again, it's like really important to you. Those people who are really important to you, who really understand you, you're going to be sharing it with them and not with everybody else. And this is also the light that illuminates your world. Other people are going to want to take credit for it, but this is the light that illuminates your world, that moves you forward, that empowers you. And it's changing the way that you see things. You really are going to be kind of reborn into your power during this time, reborn into the way that you want to move forward and what it is that you're looking at and what it is that you want from life, because you're taking aim. You have riddles that are guiding you, very much because you have the high priestess here, right? No, you have the hermit, but you have this sense of riddles being something that you're working out. Okay, so you have the sphinxes here, and of course the sphinx gives the riddles to Oedipus, right? Yes. And here it's those riddles of life that we constantly try to work out, and that we can sit there and we can interpret one way, but they're meant another. And so here it's always knowing that life is changing. Life, what did Plato say? All is flux and nothing stays the same. So everything that we are working out, everything that we are developing, it's changing. It's bringing us on different paths. It's moving us forward in different ways. And the chariot is going to be guiding you. You're going to realize that by following your heart and your mind and using your powerful skills and your passion, you find that you can traverse the land much more easily than you were before, because you are listening to your guidance, you're listening to yourself, and you're also realizing that you have more skills and more passion and more power than you had thought. And it opens you, and it opens your heart to the change that's coming in. Like, your mind becomes ready for it, and you start to kind of move out of the rules that you thought were supposed to be. Like, you got this rule book when you were little, and you thought, okay, well, this is the way it is. And now you're seeing here, it's like, no, it's not. And you're breaking away from the past, though it can be a painful break, especially if that past was very scarring, all right? Because if it was scarring, we find it, and it sounds funny to say, but we find it very hard to leave behind things that get so ingrained in us as wounds, because we tend to find those wounds to perpetuate the way that we think about things, the way that we see things. So we'll find it in a partner, we'll find it in the job, the partner that doesn't treat us well, the job that makes us feel like idiots or that belittles us. We'll find it in even friends. And so we wind up basing our whole world around those wounds. And that's what you're seeing here. And you're seeing yourself change. You're like, you know what? No, I'm taking that idea that I had, that hurt that I had, that pain that I had, and I'm releasing myself from it. And it can be very slowly that you are releasing yourself from one thing. You could be going in and saying, okay, well, I want to find a partner, right? And I mean, it's a challenging time for that. But you can sit there and say, okay, I'm going to use this time, and I want to find a partner that's really, really good for me. Or I want to really improve my relationship with the partner that I have. And so you start working on that. And then all of a sudden, all these other things start coming up that were affecting all the different aspects of your life, but they were based on that wound. And so here, things start to change, and your heart starts to change, and you start to see yourself moving forward as things align. And it's not, the rules aren't what you thought they were. They're just not. And it brings you into that hermit time. It brings you into that understanding. It brings you into that needing that quiet. It brings you into that introspection. And it can bring you into a time where you kind of feel wrong within your skin or wrong within the world around you, because you're going to be changing it. And it doesn't mean that you have to change your world altogether at all. It means that you start to change the way that you're seeing things, the way that you're interacting with things. And so it's bringing you into that power and the last grips of the chaos, okay, that we all live in, and that human beings naturally are, because we are forever changing, forever growing, forever it seems at times, decreasing and growing and becoming, you start to embrace that change. And as you do so, it brings you on a bumpy road, but it brings you on a road to embrace your celebration, to embrace your passion, to embrace your beauty, to embrace your power. And it comes through being silent. It comes through looking at things and working them out and really embracing the feelings and saying, why? Why am I perpetuating this? Or why does this voice of my father or of my teacher get to be the one that comes into my mind when I'm not liking myself? Why is this hurting me? And so the 9 in the major arcana gives you this insight. You embrace the hermit. You embrace going into yourself, which in our world, we don't embrace that. We don't embrace that at all. It's like fill your life with as much chaos as humanly possible because it drowns out the inner voice. It's time to make that inner voice really loud. It's time to listen to it. It's time to be guided forward by it. And it brings you to a world where you thought there were two roads. There's the day and there's the night. There are these two roads that you get to walk. And now you're going to see through the enlightenment that there are more paths forward for you than you had ever realized. And it comes because you've kept this knowledge close to you. You've seen things differently. And it moves you to, again, really quite powerfully in the public arena, choose your battles wisely. There are going to be times where you could react and it will be very easy and it will be very natural to just react to things, to react to people, react to situations that get you mad. Think about it and do not waste your energy. Do not waste your energy on fools. Do not waste your energy on things that cannot be changed. Look at what it is that you want from your life and move forward in that truth and say, if I want peace in my existence, then how can I be always going to war? If I want prosperity in my existence, why am I always fighting over pennies? And you start to look at it and you start calling power and change and wealth and abundance into your world. And it opens you up to being the empress. It opens you up to claiming a throne that you never knew you had, to claiming a voice that you never knew was yours. And it leads you to a prosperity that lasts for generations. It leads you to an impact that you have on this world that is profound, that is beautiful, that is abundant, and that is so much more than you expected. And it leads you to a prosperity, a creativeness, an abundance, a growing, a beginning that is just astounding. And as that comes in, and as you look at the world around you, because that starts to open up doors, because there is now this power, this truth, and it leads you to the Ace of Swords. It leads you to God's Source Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing you this gift of knowledge, of clarity, of insight, of determination, of I hold the world in my hand and now I know. And it might be that you know something very, very small. It's like, I know that there's more out there for me. I know that this is not my ending, but my beginning. I know that I am learning and discovering and becoming. And no matter how many people, kind of rain on your parade, you know, and you have that knowing. And it's your weapon, because the sword is the only weapon in the tarot. Everything else can be used for other things or isn't a weapon at all. But the sword is only a weapon. It can be decorative too, but it is a weapon. And so here you're using that weapon of the mind to move you forward, to break through fears, to guide your path, to embrace your power. And it moves you then to your spirit animal message. Leo, January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. January 16th to the 31st, 2021, Leo. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, angels. Fantastic. You have the electric eel spirit. It says, bring your ideas to life. And that's what you're doing during this time. You are seeing how to bring your ideas, your hopes, your dreams to life. And as you do so, you have the peacock spirit. Let it shine. Let your heart shine. Let your being shine. Let your beauty shine forward. Let your love shine bright. It brings you then to the armadillo spirit. Set healthy boundaries. Seriously, set healthy boundaries. Do not let people always overstep, especially the people who want more and more and more. Set the healthy boundaries. Know the guidelines for you. and then start to really embrace them and sit there and say, you know what, these are my boundaries, this is my truth, and this is how we have to move forward. That's the discerning energy that's so important to your heart during this time. So let's see your subconscious spirit animal message. It is the otter spirit. I love the two otters making this adorable heart. It says, you are never alone, and you're not. Your angels, your spirit guides are always with you, and you are always loved. Even if at times it doesn't feel that way, you are always loved. It moves you then to your subconscious people message with the Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, this is very practical, and this is very much, you're going to be going off of the feel of things during this time. You're going to be being practical, yes, very down to earth, very centered, but you're going to say, it feels right. You know, that energy feels right. This feels right. And you're not going to know why. And don't jump in like, head first into everything. But it's like, trust that instinct, because it's really going to guide you towards prosperity and towards a little bit of wonderment and magic. And then it leads you to your subconscious chakra message, which is inspiration, the sacral chakra. You are going to be releasing a lot of the negativity from this life, from past lives, because the sacral chakra holds a lot of that negativity. And you're going to be finding that you are really quite inspired, that by addressing a lot of what was brought up in the reading, addressing a lot of the things that have held you back before, looking at the boundaries, looking deeper at yourself, seeing your blessings, seeing your beauty, you start to get inspired with life. You start to sit there and are like, maybe today's the day. Maybe now's the time. And that inspiration really does open up your world, really does open up you. And it brings you then to your subconscious tarot message, which is, again, the Hermit. Now you have this as we go deeper at your heart. You have this as your subconscious self, the turning inward, the guidance of the soul, the connection with your angels and your spirit guides, the illumination within the darkness. This is not a time for loud and crazy. This is a time for quiet. This is a time for meditation. This is a time for contemplation. And this is a time for really embracing and embarking on that power. And then it leads you to go deeper into this subconscious message. And we have the Four of Cups. So divinity is handing you a gift that doesn't look like all the other gifts that you have, or doesn't look like the gifts that you want. And you start to see things differently because of it. You start to, look at it and it's like, I didn't realize. And it's as you take that gift, and it's as you take this gift that doesn't seem like a gift at all, you're like, So subconsciously, it's like you're being pulled towards something and you're thinking, why? Like, why am I being pulled towards this? Why is this important? And it's as you kind of embrace that, or, as you embrace that you start to see that there's more opening up to you than you realized. Yeah, it's hiding just that beautiful rose, that beautiful development. All right, Leo, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as you claim a power that was once lost to you, and as you move forward in a way that you never expected, but always dreamed of. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Leo.